blessing and wisdom upon this Parliament. Direct and prosper proceedings to the peace and welfare of the people of Solomon Islands. We ask this in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you. Parliament resumes.
Further statement of government business for the week ending Friday, 24th October 2025.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Further statement of government business for the week ending Friday, 24th October 2025. Thursday, 23rd October 2025. Bills Committee of the Whole House, the Public Service Bill 2025. Committee of the Whole House continues. Motion for adjournment. Friday, 24th October 2025. Bills Committee of the Whole House, the Public Service Bill 2025. Committee of the Whole House continues and concludes. Bills third reading, the Public Service Bill 2025. Motion of special adjournment by the Prime Minister that at its adjournment on Friday, 24th October 2025, Parliament shall adjourn to Monday, 24th November 2025. Motion of adjournment.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. Thank you. Let us move on to our next item of business.
Bills Committee states the Public Service Bill 2025.
Thank you, Honourable Members. The House will now resolve into the Committee of the Whole House to consider the Public Service Bill 2025. Thank you. We are now in the Committee of the Whole, and we made some progress yesterday, but we have 101 clauses more to go. And so let us continue where we had left off yesterday. And when we left off yesterday, I was going to call us to take a vote on clause 26. And I think before we adjourned, that was before we adjourned yesterday. Therefore, I will now put a question. The question is that clause 36 stand part of the bill. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Thank you. I think the ayes have it. Ayes have it. Clause 36 therefore stands part of the bill. Clause 37. Does any member wish to comment on that clause before I put the question? Clause 37. Thank you. If there is none, let me put, sorry, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Sir, with regards to clause 37C, and as with recommendation 21 of the Bills Legislation Committee recommendations, recommendation 22, Law Committee's report, I suppose it's just a practical administrative efficiency recommendation. At the moment, for all these commissions, the Ministry of Public Service, now performing or conducting the administrative support. Pretty much everything now for commissions. The commissions are merely tribunal bodies that meet to formalize the appointment, discipline and removal, but all the legwork, the administrative legwork, is done by the Ministry of Public Service. And so recommendation 22, Law Bills Committee report, referencing clause 37C, is basically to say there's real no practical benefit giving these additional roles to any other commission, roles that have been fairly adequately, competently performed by the ministry itself, and probably better to keep it there. So now the spirit of that recommendation, sir, the Minister cares to comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, the Leader of the Opposition. Yes, so in terms of its policy, intention law section 37, this one empowering Commission the ability to conduct review on any matter related to their constitutional function and its administrative roles and responsibility obligated for under this Act. So in terms of the recommendation 21, I'd like to say that the roles of the Commission to advise or recommend based on its function, which must be clear, which is related to Clause 36, as established in the bill. Reviews and recommendations relating to the functions of the Public Service Commission can only be made by the Commission itself unless it's delegated. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Any other comments on that clause? Thank you. There's none. I'm going to put the question, and the question is that Clause 37 stand part of the bill. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 37, therefore, stand part of the bill. Clause 38. Any member wish to comment on that clause before I put the question? Clause 38. Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Thank you, sir. Just in terms of current practice, what are the reporting requirements, or what commissions do in terms of reporting block at the various commissions, JLSC, Police and Prisons Commission, or Corrections Commission, and Public Service Commission, well, Teaching Service Commission as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Thank you again, the Leader of the Opposition. So in terms of our reporting, every report is captured by the report of Public Service every year, which is submitted to the Minister. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Chairman of the Bills and Legislation Committee and MP for West Are.
Thank you, Chairman. Lo Tiswala Clause 38, Amy, about the annual reports. Have the commissions continue for submitting report? And now that it's in this bill, you see that it's going to help, or by having go himself no more Tiswala requirement. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, the Chairman of the Bills and Legislation Committee. Yeah, so the Commission itself doesn't provide doing the report. The Employment Management Unit now to actually prepare an audit report on behalf of the Commission every year. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments, questions? If not, let me put the question, and the question is that Clause 38 stand part of the bill. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 38, therefore, stands part of the bill. Clause 39. Any comments on that clause before I put the question? Clause 39. Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Thank you, sir. 39(2)(c) give guidance about the interpretation, application of public service principles, values, code of conduct, public service orders. What form does that guidance take, and at what stage is it issued? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Yes, so currently you may under the general orders now, the you may use them for in terms of fulfilling those responsibility. But once this bill then pass, that will become part of these public service orders, and the regulation.
Thank you. Honourable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Leader of the Official Opposition, for that question. Usually in child water legislation, by me, or explicitly prescribed by regulations. So in the absence of that explicit statement, give him law, the person with the power, the ability for him to choose how himself. It could be by way of letter, it could be by way of notice, it could be by way of just general secular normal. Give him that flexibility. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Honourable AG. Honourable Leader of Opposition.
So this would be driven by a needs basis. So if there was a question on interpretation, him issue rather than, or if he sees something and him no look clear, him issue one follow on his own initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Leader of the Official Opposition, for those questions. Yes, but it's usually driven by on a need basis. When that arises, it sometimes might need explanation from Attorney General, then by GIMCOM, then he puts it in a circular or a memo or whatever form he deems fit for that purpose. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Honourable Attorney General, any further comments or questions? Thank you. If not, I'm going to put the question. The question is at clause 39, stand part of the bill. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 39, therefore, now stands part of the bill. Clause 40. Any comments on that clause? If I put the question, clause 40. Okay, if there's none, I'm going to put the question, and the question is that clause 40 stands part of the bill. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 40, therefore, now stands part of the bill. Clause 41. Any comments on that clause before we put the question? Clause 41. Thank you, Honourable MP for East Choiseul.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, just for seeking some clarification. No more here. So, every officers working on ministries are deemed to be exercising delegated powers from the permanent secretaries, other than people who have statutory powers like Commission of Inland Revenue, Control of Customs, and also become under Ministry of Finance. They write on behalf of themselves the decisions they're making because of their statutory powers, and those coming under those divisions of making decisions or write letters, making decisions on behalf of the Commission of Inland Revenue. In this case, all other officers that no government are not vested with statutory powers of what making they are deemed to exercise delegated powers from the permanent secretaries. And so maybe just for Ministry for clear and come under what circumstances now this one by MRIs, Mr. Chairman. In this is relation to recommendation 23 by the Bills and Legislation Committee. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Member for East Choiseul. So, firstly, I'd like to say that the official channel of communication over our ministry always come through the Permanent Secretary. With relation to recommendation 23, a normal delegation within the powers vested in the Permanent Secretary as established in the bill. The performance of function by delegate is to be treated as if they were performed by the Permanent Secretary, as said in the bill. So 34 delegated power by the Minister. Performance of function by delegates is to be treated if the function is performed by the Minister. So that's in line with the recommendation 23. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Just following on from that issue raised by Member for East Choiseul, sir. So when we get to an appeals situation where a delegate of the permanent secretary has exercised the delegated function and made a determination, and then that matter is then appealed. The current practice, as Ministry and Talent Law Bills Committee, was that that appeal would come to the permanent secretary. But 41.3 precludes that because delegated function below hemi exercised as if it were he was exercising it, and therefore you can't appeal back to him, and therefore there is need for clarity so that an appeals process would need to go above him or go to another tribunal, and if that's the case, what is that? Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Leader, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. May I ask him, AG, for making a clarification? Thank you.
Honourable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Leader of the Official Opposition, for that question. In this case, but you're correct, the Permanent Secretary won't be able to review that because that decision is made on his behalf. So in this case, it will be either a commission or Minister know how to also, but I'm trying to just have a look at the bill no more on how that is done. So I think how it will be done is through regulations whereby Minister Hemmekem, which by clearly outlining what process law or time limit internal reviews. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Attorney General. Honourable MP for East Joseph.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to be clear on what can functions now, we talk about that by delegated law here. The permanent secretaries, of course, when they're appointed, they have broad, I guess, the terms blogata, and all the people were appointed to the ministries apart from those that exercise some statutory powers. What also got in terms of reference blogata, Mr. Chairman. So what functions are we talking about the work-up law permanent secretaries? Is that what we're talking about? What the functions that the permanent secretary is supposed to exercise him, but then delegate him go over like the chief administrative officer or administrative officer. So maybe just give us some kind of examples later so we decide what kind of functions now we're talking about, sir.
Thank you. Honourable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, MP for East Joseph, for that question. The wording of section clause 41, subclause 1, just basically making broad, and that any of the permanent secretaries' function in the bill can be delegated to any person. Law. I would think it would be, even for just example, if his power to discipline function for discipline, let him delegate him each permanent secretaries, each ministries discipline him or law officials. Could do that for directors in Ohiota heads of divisions inside lot ministries. That could also be done as long as he comply with him delegation rules here of 41 subclause 2. Then that is perfectly okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Attorney General. Honourable Leader of the Independent, MP for East Malay.
Thank you, Chairman. Let me just like I'm asking Minister Namo for explaining law house. Some for the time a delegation or worker PSs delegating like taking over when PS is away. We have the process of line up people there, PS, the Deputy Secretary, Corporate, then come down, pass more directors. Sometimes auto give him over, go delegation, worker him go below Kolo Director, whereas Deputy Secretary him start no more. So me like asking Minister, what now? Why not no follow the delegation of job according to the rankings that L'Oreal of Public Service Law Ministries. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The Honourable MP, Honourable Minister.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Yes, so I think, Lord, that instance, that should not really happen, Chairman. The delegation, I mean, should go below the next level no powers where him invested along PSA. So, or either him delegating work across maybe another supervising PS if in the absence of the PS. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Any further comments on that clause? Otherwise, I'm going to put the question, and the question is that clause 41 stand part of the bill. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 41, therefore, stands part of the bill. Clause 42. Any comments on that clause before I put the question? So, my apologies, honourable members. There is an amendment proposed to this clause as appeared in business paper number 63. Let me ask the Minister to move the amendment. Honourable Minister, please.
Thank you, Chairman. So I move that in clause 42(7), substitute quote the permanent secretaries unquote with with each permanent secretaries unquote. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Rationale for the amendment, please.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. So in this clause here, I mean, the policy intention on this clause is to establish the Permanent Secretary's Performance Review Committee within the Office of the Prime Minister, Cabinet, and provide the roles and function of the PSPRC specific to managing PS performance. The Permanent Secretary Performance Review Committee, membership, procedures, measures, tools, and conducting PS performance left for OPMC determination. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable members, before I put the question, does any member wish to comment on this amendment? Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Just for acknowledging and appreciating the amendment, which I make consistent with in recommendation 25, Long Bills Committee. The way current 7 is worded, the report on performance, it would appear as a performance of all permanent secretaries as a group. And so the amendment, clarifying with that performance for each permanent secretary now I must feature this for report so we know that they're performing to expected standards where government set them. So it's a good amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, so with that amendment, I mean, like for clearly specify that each permanent secretary should provide him that report. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Any further comments on that proposed amendment? Thank you, Honourable Chairman PAC and MP for Central Honiara.
Sorry, I wasn't going to comment on the amendment. Maybe after you may vote law amendment now.
Okay, thank you. Any further comments on the amendment? Otherwise, let me put the question. And the question is that clause 42(7) substitute the permanent secretaries with each permanent secretary. All those in favour say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 42(7) therefore stands amended accordingly. Before I put a question on, in respect of clause 42 as amended, does any member wish to comment on that clause as amended? Honourable MP for Central Honiara, Chairman PAC.
Thank you, sir. So, this was unity and Permanent Secretary's Performance Review Committee. How is this unit established? Is it just administratively established, or is it established under the Public Service Commissions, under some kind of a regulation? That's the question, sir.
Thank you. Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, MP for Central Honiara, for that question. Since show up law will be started a committee, and so the inner workings of it and what the rules will be by way of regulations by Minister Abraham Mekem. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General. Honorable Chairman PAC.
Yeah, sure. So, is it created by this legislation or law bill, or is it something that has already been there? And therefore, we are making reference to it in this bill. Thank you. Because I try to trace, we are now inside law here now, PSSRC here, but I'm not looking anywhere in here, how that is created. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you again, before Central Honiara, for that question. Yes, 42 establishes that committee by way of mentioning here and setting up that one. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General. Honorable MP for Central Honiara, Chair PAC.
Yeah, sure. I mean, anything that you may put him in charge of law has to source its authority from somewhere. Lawyer him just refer to him no more. In the narration lawyer. But of course there has to be something that give rise to or creating that entity to have the power to do that. Otherwise it has to be the office of the Prime Minister no more. I must say.
Attorney General.
Can MP please just repeat him, come back?
Yes, of course. I'm just referring to where this whole acronym or come from. Well, now we say that it is Permanent Secretary's Performance Review Committee. So it is kind of a committee. But of course, you know that in any law that we would want to waste the power of him, that committee has to source its existence and authority from somewhere. When you look into this legislation, there is no reference made to the creation of that committee. All of a sudden, himself is no more. So, is it proper for me to refer to that committee in the way that we were thinking that it will perform that function? Or, in effect, it was never created by law. Stated no lawyer, not by doing also. The rightful body that created by law is Office of the Prime Minister. Or rightly, it should be the Public Service Commission, that has the power to create bodies under Section 137 of the Constitution. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And once again, thank you, MP for Central Honiara, for that question. Now, there is no legal impediment in doing what it is in doing here. Now you can see there's a number of things also too that you may do. There are a number of laws that you see that auto refer to the Chamber of Commerce. There's no legal, actually, also legal law actually establishing Chamber of Commerce. So Chamber of Commerce is a body established under an act where our act na hem garim we may say establishment bodies, then this one hem apply and establish under that. So same thing. Also bar association. Although you can see just one reference in the Constitution, there's a reference to the bar association. Sometimes bar association is established. So it's the same principle that carry on here. So there's no legal impediment in having this. Now this is latched upon the Constitutional Authority Law Secretary to Cabinet, who is the head of Authority and Civil Service, Public Service under Constitution blaming. So that's why law there. So with those references, there's no legal impediment for just putting there is a committee established under the Prime Minister's office that deals with this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General.
Chairman Mitwala, yeah, Chairman Mitwala AG by class a little bit more on this one. Because if you look at the Chamber of Commerce, for instance, it is an entity, a body corporate, established by law. Bar association, it is a body corporate established by law. There are legal recognition associated with the way that anyone can make a choice to choose those entities. But this committee, from nowhere, no one pop up now. But I think you have made reference to some kind of an authority that can do this job, like Chief Secretary or Cabinet, for instance. Who is the Chief Secretary? What name you call him? Secretary to Cabinet. It is a body or an authority established by the Constitution. You can show when the existence of Secretary to Cabinet come from the Constitution. So you can pick it and say, this is what I'm going to put into this legislation for him conducting a particular review. Body knows where I come from. This will a committee. All of a sudden, so that's what I'm asking for. Where did it source its authority from? Is it just a committee that you may planning for establishing, and therefore you mean thinking that it should carry out that role? But is it an established authority? Because in every committee that we refer to in this legislation has its creation. For instance, the advisory committee. This law provides for its existence. You could not trace where now this one here from. So that's why I'm asking that question. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to clarify, the Somali's Chamber of Commerce is not established by law. It's established by it's a body corporate that is registered under a law, but so it's not established by law. So it's the same law here. You'll see that I'll take you back to the purpose of the Act. Look, if you go back to clause 2, clause 3. B says provide legal framework for administration of human resource management in the public service. Or then I'm saying a number of purposes we put on. So now the establishment of this committee is as an administrative committee under the office of the Prime Minister. Part of purpose here. So in terms of the establishment, there is no, there is no legal impediment in an act establishing a committee like that. You see, I just come in and say like this one, what committee also not by him deal with him this one. So I'm not this one. So when you come to clause 130. Let me just take it. So 124, subsidiary legislation. Then you will see that every regulations go there by if they can put them into effect now, what the committees here by him look like, what the rules below him, what now by what times for meeting, what now all doing. So that's why I can say this. It's no legal impediment, and just the act just come up and say to regulate performance block PS. There will be this body. So regulation by comes, okay, this body na this one him na what by MSI doing. Him na time about meeting, how about meeting, who na lo him, who na by chairman, and if no any chairman or there, how na about choosing chairman. So that's basically how this will be rolled out. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General. Last comment from you, Honorable Chairman.
Yeah, last comment no more, and then we move on. Chair, I think finally, AG you referred to, I think where we can validate the existence of this committee, law regulation. Me finding trouble for accepting not daily explanation to you, but I think there is a good one by law regulation now. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman PAC. Honorable Leader of Opposition.
Thank you, sir. I suppose the member below Central Onier is looking for there shall be established kind of clause, or in modern drafting language, there is the Public Service Permanent Secretary review, whatever it is. But in any case, me like Golo recommendation 24, Law Bills Committee, and me containing 3 parts. The first part, for a clearer definition of the composition, below this fella and mandate, below this fellow mandate, lo here and me look all right, but the composition, lo him. And so then, me not just an ad hoc committee where he meet at the end of each year for doing review, but that it actually carries out effective oversight right throughout in that way, because the Prime Minister is the coordinating minister. It takes a lot of the administrative burden of coordinating minister and then reports to the Prime Minister. So Prime Minister Savi that permanent secretaries are working. The second part of that recommendation, sir, is the performance criteria or KPIs, if you like, for Ogata PS, and perhaps to tie these into Ogata contracts per Ogata. But the base minimum of those KPIs should be perhaps either here in the bill or required in the regulations, so that at the very least, base minimum, of course, HEMI policy, implementation, budget execution, legislative outcomes, or it's something where required by law and by government policy, HEMI tied go inside longo performance law required by regulation or this bill and required by contract. And so time come law review, Permanent Secretary sabi na what now by committee look like, so it's transparent for all, and hemi avoid him, one talk system or favoritism or kind of thing, and just purely based on performance now, and that performance is known beforehand what you have to perform. And every time government producing policy, by him also issue translation matrix or something similar. And from time to time, cabinet will issue further policy where him not contained in original policy and translation document law government. That too. So the contract is open to that, and regulations setting out what must be reviewed Hemi Base Lohem. And finally, so the committee went further and said it should be clear here, and I suppose affirmed by earlier explanation below the Honourable Attorney General, that this is implicitly tied to Secretary to Cabinet, because him now head Blolketa permanent secretaries. But perhaps it should be stated here that him now chair, and then composition below him here, perhaps because permanent secretaries cannot be in a committee reviewing themselves. So perhaps STC and then maybe some constitutional post holders. But when we raised that with other constitutional post holders who appeared before the committee, okay, must careful to you, because he might also compromise in independence law offices, for ombudsman, for example, and auditor general, and so forth. So the matter of composition is important, and just as an addendum to that composition bit is to avoid political appointees. And committee, after hearing the various submissions from stakeholders or witnesses, I'm thinking the bill now should clearly tell them straight, avoiding political appointees or avoiding this special, very special temporary employees here, that they must not be in, for risking politicizing the public service and the leadership of the public service. So those were the elements in that recommendation, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition. Any response, comments from the Minister, Attorney General? Minister. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, colleagues, for the constructive discussion and points here. So, Mrs. Sakko, make mention of some, like what the bill is stipulating here. As we finish the composition of the PLC, immediately back to the office of the Prime Minister, because also me already tell him that Secretary to the Cabinet, him now, the head of the PSS, so performance criteria for PSS, as he stipulated here, immediately back along OPMC for determining. So, but thank you for those comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Leader.
So perhaps the Honourable Prime Minister, enunciate him or think him blame, but I'd say it's not for the office of the Prime Minister, it's for Parliament. And good for you, we take him upon ourselves to flesh it out a little bit more, and then, of course, the Prime Minister then implements that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to supplement or confirm the response from the Minister for Public Service, and I do thank the Leader of Opposition and, of course, the Bills and Legislation Committee for this important recommendation. But I believe the policy choice that we have is to have these details in terms of the composition, even the criteria, to be reflected in regulations. Be much more easy for us if there is a need for amendment in terms of the regulations. It will be easy to do, rather than if we put it inside law in the bill, the act. So that's the policy rationale for having those details in the regulation. But we take note of the important points that the Leader of Opposition has raised based on recommendation 24. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. Honourable Leader.
Yeah, thank you, Sir Osim. At the very least, two aspects. Number one, chairmanship here. The bill should specify a chair so that M not become discretionary, and that should be the STC. And then, barring or prohibiting political appointees from being in it. The rest can be in regulations, and as things change over time, it'll be much easier to change in the regulations. But those two are important in terms of safeguarding the integrity of this mechanism. So that would be my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Leader. Honourable Minister, just note of the observations and comments? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Yes, so as we already said today, all this is become under the regulations here. So it will be taken on board once the regulations are what developed and pass him and catch him. So thank you for those observations. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Maybe just in addition to what Minister and Prime Minister tell him, a similar thing could be done under the Public Service Commission regulations, where they can officially delegate some of the functions and then establish him and put him that this is what I like him. So that's also one avenue that we can explore, in addition to the suggestions by the leader of the official opposition in addressing this one. But I take note of also the suggestions by the leader of the official opposition, and we'll try to see what is the best option for making him. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Honourable Leader.
Thank you. Perhaps also consider including maybe on that platform or committee, Private Secretary or Governor General or the clerk, the honourable clerk, the most honourable clerk. So they're coming from fairly senior, but they're not exactly permanent secretaries themselves. Well, I suppose permanent secretary now, private secretary below His Excellency. But so I mean, in the search for who would be the appropriate people who might be on this committee. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Noted, Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you. Just to acknowledge the important points and comments and recommendations by the leader of opposition, we'll take those on board. We'll make sure that those in the committee are people that can do their work impartially in terms of making those assessments and reports. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Chair of the Bills and Legislation Committee.
Thank you, Chairman. Just to again follow up normal discussions so far and add, Mr. Chairman, the committee performance, the Permanent Secretary Performance Review Committee, have an important one. Thank you, Prime Minister. The recommendations by the Bills and Legislation Committee, Hemi points to the detail fresh whereby Hemi administered this well good bill where we discuss him, and thank you, Minister. You take note of him. A lot there by Hemi, very, very helpful and interesting to see what now this well regulation waiting this well important bill by Hemi come about. Just on me thinking around him, the responsibility and authority over the permanent secretaries by the secretary to cabinet. How now, Hemi do the review come? Or time what give him contract normal, then at the end of the contract before next appointment now, by opportunity to review or that performance during the contract, Hemi to contacted me, just like asking Minister for giving clarity law, that man house. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman of the Business and Legislation Committee. So the performance assessment, it's an ongoing process. So once it's under contract, it should be done annually. And that should also determine whether those contracts by him continued or not. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Leader.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Just in terms of current practice, no more, sir. Obviously, in the absence of this legislative framework, Yumigare Prime Minister, as coordinating minister. And then we have the minister and permanent secretary, Law Public Service, are also coordinating minister and PS for the public service. But in terms of the permanent secretaries themselves, what's the current practice? How many times does the Prime Minister, is it a monthly meeting, or is it longer than 2 months before you meet him or one each for you to decide what's happening in that ministry and also? And at the minister's level, how many times now minister hem sit down with the PS blem? Of course, if tuolla Bill Natolle, it was story all no, but formally sit down and go through policy also, implementation, CASIM also, what now, budget also, all of that stuff. How many times is that happening? Is it once a week? Is it once a month? Just to inform the committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition, for those important observations and questions. In terms of the permanent secretaries, the Secretary to Cabinet calls for monthly meetings at the end of each month. We have permanent secretary meetings chaired by the STC, and if there are issues that requires the Prime Minister or relevant ministers to attend, then we do attend. In terms of my own office, we have senior management meeting every Monday, sitting down with the STC, the SPM, and the SPM and other senior executives within the Office of the Prime Minister and Cabinet. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. Honourable Leader.
So in terms of, say, poor performance or lack of performance by any particular permanent secretaries, after we meet with him, STC, and report come up to you and say, hey, sector was no some of issues and ministry is not providing the leadership or is not doing what it's supposed to do under policy and budget and also. What's the process? What happens there? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Leader of Opposition. Yes, as and when those issues arise, the Secretary to Cabinet does provide reports or updates on those PSs, including if those sectors, for example, the update or the report on the budget implementation for that sector slow or there are issues, then the STC does provide that update and that briefing, and we do remind them through our policy evaluation unit, who is monitoring the implementation of government policies and the budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. Honourable Leader.
Yes, thank you. Just as an example, and it's been of some great concern to me for many years, Audit General's reports. We've had Auditor General's reports into ESP, we've had it, or Games is ongoing, we've had it into COVID funds under different ministries and so forth. And there is just blatant abuse, mismanagement, maybe even fraud, where he documenting, and there just seems to be no accountability. And I'm not saying that the permanent secretary sitting on top of the ministries that these abuses are happening are responsible themselves for the misuse, abuse, or stealing, but it's happening under their responsibility. But there is no accountability. And then, me here go, but contract renew. How is that? How does it even happen that a review mechanism and pick him up and then steal, but you're not responsible to make sure that that never happens, unless that accountability sticks. Hard for good. So I'm trying to understand how current practice pins accountability on leadership within the civil service. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Leader of Opposition, for the important observation and comment. Yes, of course, we do have challenges in the ministries. In every ministry, the permanent secretary is the accountable officer, and we do expect them to look into audit reports that concerned that Pala Ministry Ibrahim. So these are responsibilities that we expect our permanent secretaries to carry out and to address in terms of not only audit reports but other issues that concern them. Of course, there are gaps, and these are issues that the Secretary to Cabinet normally reminds our PSS about. There is, of course, room for improvement in that area, and we hope going forward we will be able to address those much more effectively and efficiently. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. One at a time. Honorable.
Thank you. Thank you,
Chair
Leader.
PAC.
Yeah, thank you, Leader, for giving me the space. I'm really happy that there's going to be this regulation that will create this committee. So how would you read that in particular where, we will be expecting the regulation to even prescribe the procedures, the procedures for this committee, how they will conduct their function. But law sub-clause 3, it seems to be already determined there that the committee itself must determine its procedures. So where will this power that the minister will exercise by capturing now what the law by him already giving finished now law, this committee. So how will that work? Say, first comment now, then I'll stand again, possibly give him leader, especially by Mr. Namolo Narwan. Thank you.
The Honorable Chair PAC, Honorable Minister.
Can I have to clarify that one? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, MP for West Central Honiara and Chairman PAC for that question. Sub-clause 3 states that it must determine its procedures for managing the performance of permanent secretaries, but just that no more. The composition, this what time about me, how for determining who chairman and kind of him. Those are him, but regulation not by him, still by him have to be established, establishing for making him shall follow. Once they sit, and then that's when they manage the procedures for managing, or setting procedures for managing procedures, performance below the PSS. Now, managing performance below PSS here, see look close 6, sub-clause 6, him outlining 2 certain things, what are doing. But absence of that, what I'm not stating in here, that's where regulations will have to come in for him and clarify and come for him. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, sir. I'm not the Attorney General.
Honorable Leader of Opposition.
Yes. Before Central Honera raised him, question will follow on from that. Let me come back to my earlier comments and responsible Prime Minister with regards to Auditor General's reports as an example. And so this is why by him important in the contract, by him Talem 9, because you're the accountable officer, every Auditor General's report is a reflection of your performance. And so this committee would be duty bound to also be looking at the Auditor General's reports and on that part of assessment law, performance here now. So there'll be a number of those. Ombudsman, for example. How many complaints now come about that for ministry and particular aspects of ministry and OSEM? How were they handled and OSEM? That reflects on, obviously, on the performance as well. Of course, on top of policy implementation, budget execution, and the rest of it. But because it'd be great if we had, we could see the proposal in terms of what these KPIs are going to look like, because this has been an area of great weakness in our civil service, has been this gap at the leadership level. And so we just have contracts or some standard employment contracts that are too nebulous, are too general, and vague with some of these performance targets. Then make them clear now. 4-year life of a term of the House, 4-year life of a term of government, projection below government for 4 years, also, and we expect this to be delivered, so why isn't it being delivered and so forth? Some of that administrative policy implementation unit, but in terms of contracts and assessment reviews, it has to be tied together and accountability for it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honourable Leader. Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wish to acknowledge the observations and the recommendations that the Leader of Opposition has made in terms of performance criteria. Not only be audit reports. Of course, there are certain permanent secretaries that do their work. They operate under certain acts of Parliament as well. And those would be criteria that we could also consider in terms of the assessment of their performance. But I take note of the important points that have been raised, and I'm sure the Ministry of Public Service will also do that in terms of the implementation of the Permanent Secretary's Performance Review Committee. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. I thought I already gave you the last chance for you to make a comment, but I'll give you the last one. Thank you.
It's lovely of you, Mr. Chairman. Just in terms of consistency, normal reference to the subject, matters law, drafting, that clause refer to performance management of permanent secretaries. And you can see all the references in the sub-clauses, it's all referring to permanent secretaries. So, but then two differences, no more law. Not a huge one, still have the same meaning, law, sub-clause 4 and 5, where it refers to an employee instead of permanent secretaries. Just for consistency, do you think it would have been neater for this legislation to maintain what it meant for, which is the permanent secretaries? No good other man drafting it or copy him from somewhere, can paste him, go, then forget enough. Remove him now. Those words here, like we've always referred to where the PRC role is and the function is to manage the performance of permanent secretaries. But in sub-clause 4 and 5, it refers to an employee, the employee, like that. Can we come back again and then just refer to them as permanent secretaries? Otherwise, you mean by opening big more the focus of this committee. Sure. Just in terms of drafting, Mr. Chairman, possibly AG could comment on that.
Thank you, Honourable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, MP for Central Honiara and Chairman PAC for that question. Just on the legality of it, but if any policy issue, maybe Minister can supplement. But in terms of this one, I think what it does here is require that any committee has to ask him any of the officers for GIMCOM any report where or deemed fit for performance. So it could be, you may say, let's say in terms of maybe vehicles, for example, I'm asking director of MID for Kakauha report law, this solar, let's say if PSM accidentally went for it, just so that is giving power to this committee for asking an employee, which is the director, or any other employee which subject law this whole inquiry, you say, that the committee would like to have a report on brought to them. So the employee is basically any employee in the public service as per the definition of employee law public service bill. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General. Honorable Chairman, PAC.
Sure. You mean opening up an assessment of term secretaries to any one night? Is that how this law and BIAM operate to assess him all the term secretaries? These are the highest accountable officers law department. And also, Michel Evatu was meeting him. How could another PEM secretary to cabinet is just another PEM secretary, no more. I'm chairing now a performance review of another PEM secretary. And the wisdom behind having this committee established by this law versus having it possibly the Public Service Commission to have that role to do it, that's the policy, another policy rationale that possibly Minister is a comment on. And then just asking any employee no more for give reference report to the assessment of a payment secretary. Hey, man, by him or is that how we are treating our payment secretaries? I don't know whether I can understand how not the sentence and read, like you all read it, in managing the performance law payment secretary, may require in writing an employee to give it copies of reports and other relevant documents. I'm no rich Lomia, I mean, you will not think him. I thought that you're requiring the PEM secretary himself to give a report in writing, or something was in the meeting, and then the next section, and say the employee must comply with any requirements. Because, you know, the focus here in this particular clause here is the PEM secretary, I must say. It is the PEM secretary. How you may open him up to another person for him? I don't know, I mean, sitting no more law here. I don't know how you people are understanding, but that's how the AGM interpret him. Okay, I'm okay, I would say. Just on that policy rationale, why is it that another payment secretary by chairing a committee, and then again in the absence of who will comprise that committee, let me give him a little bit problem for the highest chief executive law, every departments and ministry of law country here, I don't think that's how we should treat them. I don't think that's how we should treat them. And my submission would be that I think committee like this should rightly be established by under the constitution, by a constitutional body like the commission. They have the power to do it. It would have been much better, well respected, and have that integrity, to perform that kind of responsibility. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honorable MP for Central Honiara. Any comments, sir?
I comment a little bit, what's the policy rationale behind why we are taking it to the Chief Secretary for chairing the committee and not the Commissioner. What's the thinking behind? Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Minister. Honorable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. So I think through consultation with the Commission, because under function law, Commission for employment, discipline, and but so the Commission actually refer him this one go back to PMO for which of now active manager of this PSS. But those notes that you make me take note of them. As Amy mentioned, we will deal with the issue of composition and all those things under the regulation laws. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that comment, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Law 42, subclause 6A. So at the beginning of each financial year, this committee. So this will be, by implication here, this will be a committee where BAM exists and Mascarem office and support staff and also within Prime Minister's office. Yeah? So my first question is, how's that going to work, that support unit? Important one, this one. So at the beginning of each year, Ogata enter into this performance agreement with each Permanent Secretary, which is a great invention because I'm helpful both to the Permanent Secretary and to this committee and to the Prime Minister as coordinating minister. So everybody is clear what needs to be, what's included in the performance agreement. So that support unit, what the plan is to set that up properly and so forth. And secondly, this whole performance agreement here, annual ones, how long is the contract block with PSC? Is it 4 years? 5 years? 4 years. So by full performance agreement in the life of a contract law, a permanent secretary, and that's additional to the employment contract, which they sign at the beginning of each tenure. So how is that going to work, and how is that linked into that employment contract law? And is emoluments or remuneration tied to performance? Mr. Chairman, the best performance are those who are they're aiming to receive the highest rewards. It's just human nature. You incentivize, then they perform. But if, as is the current way we're doing things, man hem perform, entitled of gratuity, man no perform, take same gratuity too. What's the incentive to perform when you do little and still get the same? There is no incentive for performance. And so this performance agreement, is it going to be tied to reward system under the general employment contract? And how is that going to work in terms of how government is doing the packages and also? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honourable Leader. Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you once again, Leader of the Opposition. Yeah, so that one by the PMO, not by determining whether those incentives or this performance criteria are attached to an incentive. So by million back law, PM for if I'm make a comment on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Chairman, and I do thank the Leader of Opposition for his final comment on this clause. The points that he raised are very important, and these are some of the areas that we'll look at once the PSR, PRC is established. And we would like to see that performance is rewarded. That's important going forward. Because we would like to ensure that there is efficiency and effectiveness in terms of how the PSS deliver service. But at the moment, as the leader has alluded to, there is not much difference in terms of rewards, for example. So the key performance indicators will be critical in terms of when the contracts are up for review or even for extension if the need arises. So thank you, Chairman, and I would like to thank the leader for those comments, and we'll take those observations on board once this board is established, so that we ensure that they effectively work for the good of the public service. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Lord Prime Minister. Honourable Leader.
Yeah, just finally from me, sir. The current contracting system and remuneration system, every PSM sem no mo eman. And this, I think, is a bit of an issue. I think it's a problem to performance also. So if you have PS Block Finance, for example, who's the premier manager, really, of government fiscal policy, and him pay sem also PS Block no good me talent nar PS Block tingim money look down on me. Well, every PS got good man block go everyone no more, but there must be grades in terms of the significance of the work, the sector they're managing, the size of the budget, and the amount of work that has to be done, and so forth. But if those who are carrying a big burden are paid the same as those who are important as they are, but carrying a much lesser burden, with different sets of skills, but not quite as technical as others, perhaps, but they're all getting the same, him affecting performance too. So the way our contracting system is structured at the moment, no bar take that into consideration, but it should. That's something that the bill does not need to go into, but it's something that you all must consider when you set this mechanism up. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Chairman, and I thank the Leader of Opposition for those important observations and recommendations. We'll look at those going forward. They are important, Mr. Chairman. So thank you, Leader, for those recommendations.
Thank you. Let me now put the question, and the question is that Clause 42 as amended, stand part of the bill. Those in favour, say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 42 as amended, therefore stands part of the bill. The next clause for consideration is Clause 43. Does any member wish to comment on this clause before I put the question? Clause 43. If there is none, I'm going to put the question, and the question is that Clause 43 stand part of the bill. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 43, therefore, stands part of the bill. Next clause is Clause 44. Any comments on that clause before I put the question? Clause 44. Thank you. If there is none, let me put the question. Question is that Clause 44 stand part of the bill. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 44, therefore, stands part of the bill. Clause 45. Does any member wish to comment on this clause before I put the question? Clause 45. Thank you. If there is none, let me put the question. And the question is that Clause 45 stand part of the bill. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 45. Therefore, stand part of the bill. Clause 46, any comments on that clause before I put the question? Clause 46. Thank you, Honourable Chairman of PAC.
Thank you.
MP for Central Honiara.
Yeah. So in Part 6, Division 1, the establishment, so that will refer to the establishment register. So we are now still a non-established list here. Will there continue to exist what we normally refer to as the non-establishment list here, or no more now? It will be just one establishment. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman of the PAC. Yeah, they are part of the establishment. Yes, clause 46 and 49 here, this is to codify under this act the process for preparation and variation of establishment and the persons responsible for preparation and varying the establishment in harmony with the Public Public Financial Management Act. So this could be a part of the establishment. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Chair PAC.
Sorry, me no, take a good one now, Minister Talemi, because we do know currently we have an establishment list and non-establishment list here. So this legislation will now remove the non-establishment, so we will only have one establishment. Is that the understanding here?
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Thank you once again, Chairman of the PAC. Yeah, so this one I'm referred to registry and they're part of the establishment.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Any further comments on that clause? If not, let me put the question. The question is that clause 46 stand part of the bill. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 46 stand part of the bill. Clause 47, any comments on that clause? So we put the question, clause 47. Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you, sir. On these series of clauses dealing with establishment, the committee made, Bills Committee made recommendation 26, where we talk about Olketa law. Bottom law establishment here. So, firstly, perhaps for the non-established workers here. In attending before the Bills Committee, Ministry, we say, by this one non-established, it will be a thing of the past. So that's a good thing. So non-established register will be removed, and then one establishment no more. And then, of course, the remuneration packages for public officers, perhaps up to level 5, perhaps even up to level 6. So a general policy situation where government must look in light of cost of living and now get something also for look long remuneration law to bring it to a more reasonable, realistic level of remuneration where survival and families exist and so forth. Unfortunately, we're only talking about survival. Of course, it's much better to have a living wage, but that's a function of overall fiscal burden, payroll, budget law government. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, the Leader of the Opposition. And so once this bill has go through, we establish the new classifications, or not establish it, but abolish. So we will have the new classification where everyone will come inside. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And in terms of remuneration law, say officers up to level 5 on the establishment, over the increases will come recently here. Man way you on top, you looking maybe $200 difference, but down here. I think by $20 no more difference or same. So there is a serious case to be made for at the bottom of the establishment being looked at differently, separately from the middle, perhaps top echelons of the civil service. So perhaps a policy, a response on that issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Leader of the Opposition. Yes, so with the establishment of these new classifications here, Baham really try for addressing now the disparities here. That's what the new classification will address. So most of the, and that again, that will be addressed also under the regulation. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable MP for Central Honiara.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Like for Minister Novo clearly mind-blowing minimal this differentiation between non-established and established. I think the non-established up to level 5, is it? Yeah. And then the established would be level 6 and upward. So those classification now will be removed, isn't it? So it will be just an established civil establishment register no more for the whole entire public service or the civil service. So if that is the case, then in terms of disparities of the remunerations that are accorded to all of them, I think this is where we, one way for him to really break him now, you know, that, and then allow for the full working out of the classification of the salary structure of the whole entire establishment. I think that's a good move, I must say. You may have to remove them now, what you may call, you know, odd money and non-established or non-established. We just have one civil service establishment. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you once again, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman of the PEC. Also, the non-established have me level 1 and 2 currently, and this one's me appointment made by the PS. Level 3 and up here, those are the established positions in Mitaram and appointment made by the Commission. With this new classification, you may be abolishing now the non-established. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. With that response, I will put a question. The question is that clause 47, stand part of the bill. Those in favor, say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 47, therefore, stands part of the bill. Clause 48, does the member wish to comment on this clause before I put the question? Clause 48.
Chairman.
Thank you. Honorable
Thank you,
Chair,
sir.
PAC.
All practical reasons no more. This is always a worrying concern every fiscal year. Preparation blow budget, preparation blow establishment. Always the last one to come there, establishment. Me really appreciate him that there is now going to be just one establishment, and the time that has to be given to both the PEM Secretary and the Finance and Public Service, you know, to put the right instruction to all the line ministries, you know, to come up with the establishment register for a particular year. I think that is very, very important. I just wondering if, you know, that kind of a timeline can also be built into this provision here, so that we can have the timely completion and the publication of the visual establishment register. As it is right now, by still same problem no more. I'm always the last one for come. I mean, that seems to be the experience. So, but me really happy with this provision. Yeah, I think we need to have that. The other clause where you may remove them now, the classification, and just have one establishment register. And then you may do a proper, you know, skimming of the salary classification throughout the whole entire establishment register emotion. Yeah? And then the other thing is when the time, it has to be provided in the legislation so that, you know, the preparation of the budget will always be on time. Have not always delayed budget preparation, simply because, ministries delay and go more, I must say. Thank you, sir. So what is your thinking? Maybe somewhere in the regulation, we can tie that in to ensure that preparation of the establishment is done on time. That will reflect the way that the budget is being prepared as well, too. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honourable for Central Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman of the PSC. So, comments are taken, noted. Under the Financial Management Act, is simply a timeline for that one too. So, that should be addressed to the in terms of the timeline in which we work towards that one. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you, sir. These clauses that deal with the establishment raise the issue. Of course, when we're looking at, determining the establishment, obviously you want to see the entire civil service being fit for purpose and addressing needs in terms of service delivery in the various laws that come under their mandate of those various agencies and ministries, and the budgets that are allocated, and so forth, and the policy of local government. But once in a while, there will need to be a review of the entire system, and the entire establishment. Do any review where any whole of civil service machinery review here to make sure that it in its entirety it is fit for purpose. There, of course, different ministries or agencies do restructure. They do their own review and restructure and also then give him Kamlo Ministry for Luluklem, discussing with him finance for side law, payroll, budget, and all that something. So that's fine too. But that runs the risk of a very highly piecemeal approach where he lack the cohesion of efficiency of the big picture view of having an overall effective civil service. So that's my question. I suppose my question is, has this been done ever? And if not, under this new legislative framework, how should it be done? And if so, how could it be done or enabled by this legislation? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition. Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, the Leader of the Opposition. Yes, so, new classification structure, law clause 50 is purpose preliminary for by reviewing the whole classification structure of the public service. But currently, the government policy along structural review we have been done every or prior to the budget process every year. So that's where the public service and doing that review. That's part of the government policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Minister of Finance and Treasury.
Thank you, Chair. Just to a little bit compliment the responsible minister. I think that's one of the important intentions that the government is looking at, especially to look at how we can review our public service structure, of course, to do with hot establishments, because some of the indications now, especially to do with non-functional, they have me sort of staying for many years now, and then you may continue, and then that's also one of the things that cost government too, in terms of, because if you look at the salary now, it's almost 40% lot annual budget below me, so I think need, of course, point by PAC and the timing of it, important is a little bit need him much more time for look at this. I think with the new Education Act here, some fella good something law. This one happened, especially with registry of teachers, which is you start for identify too, or the teachers that are the inside names law system, but or the law somewhere finish or not really law classroom, so that probably some things that the government is looking at that, and that timing is also important and need him time. That's one of the things Chair of PACME have done. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Minister of Finance. Honourable Leader of Opposition.
So this overall review, of course, there are the sector ones or ministry ones. Those are specifically where needs arise, but this overall one here should be mandated, I think, so that government, as a matter of course, every so many years, does a review, and if there is need for right sizing, macro level review, not me thinking where there is need for right sizing, then government responds to that need. Where there is need for a little bit more refocus, then government does that. So government's always afforded the information to be able to make well-informed decisions, but that should not depend on the political government. I mean, political government, by me taken up with so many things, it should be part of the machinery itself on an ongoing, regular basis to be doing that, so informed decisions can be taken at the political level. That's my concern. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition. Honourable Minister.
Thank you for those comments. Again, just like for reiterating the previous point where we mentioned the functional organizational review is an ongoing process that happen every year. That also, again, as I said, may come in line with our budgeting process. So those reviews may done before the budgeting process starts, so that we can take him on any changes that by me need to happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. With those comments, let me now put the question. The question is at clause 48, stand part of the bill. Those in favour, say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it, clause 48, therefore stands part of the bill. Clause 49, honourable members, there is an amendment proposed to this clause as appeared in business paper number 63. Let me ask the Minister to move the amendment. Honourable Minister, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sir, I move that in clause 49.3 B, I substitute A, quote and unquote, second mention with quote, the, unquote. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. It's a simple, it's a substituting the A with the. I think that's the intention of the amendment. Right, Minister? I'm all set, yeah?
Yes, so that's the amendment that I may ask him. To the change of the word nomana instead of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Before I put the question, any member wish to comment on this amendment? I think it's a straightforward one, so let me put the question. The question is that clause 49.3b1, substitute A in second mention with the. All those in favor say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it, clause 49, therefore stands amended accordingly. Before I put the question in respect of clause 49, is the member wish to comment on this clause as amended? Thank you. Honorable Chairman, PAC.
Yeah. Yes, Chair, I think this is where the comment made by the leader of opposition and very much, relevant to this particular clause here, because we are talking about, the whole bone structure of public, the public service. Yeah, quite apart from the number of departments, this is where the positioning come out. And classifications of position is always the most expensive part here, which comprises this personal emolument. Then comes the working out of the recurrency law in chat law, or the entities here, or departments, or the ministries, or same. To a point, not me like for Megem law here. I think, or maybe somewhere in the regulation that it can be tied to this particular clause, timing on the annual reassessment of the size below establishment, yeah, and how relevant they are, fitting into the total, the entire entities here, agency here, yeah. Agency is defined in Chad Law or Public Financial Management Act. I think they must be defined as agency, I think, yeah. The various government agencies, yeah. Timing is to when it should happen, because one problem that we've always had is reflecting the true cost of running this agency. So every year you may come estimate no more, sometimes driven by cash flow situation. So baseline him pop up come no more than him say you follow no baseline here. And the baseline doesn't work. Because the baseline is always used as a tool for you for delaying no more, or to basically allow for you may use it as a temporary measure for using no more whatever provisioning that then by existing previous years, and therefore you may use him no more. But when in fact, the real cost law every year, him never go down here. It never goes down. The only time probably that it might go down is the time that you may trigger in this assessment to find out the real value of this position and whether or not we will need, other sub-agencies here or units. I think you may call them here units now, units within the agencies can be, well, right-sized, upsized, downsized, or whatever, yeah? So timing is one very important factor. I want to have some comment no more from Minister. Is that something that he may envisage, to have in the regulation so that, it can fit in very well in the way that, this provision can work. The second one now is there's always, the problem of me getting the budget right every year, So at certain point, this particular aspect that we have always never have, a good handle over emolument here, there got to be a space somewhere here, that we can have a handle over it. You never come up, just like what comment that Minister of Finance has just said. Welcome back, Minister, and congratulations to you. Yeah. Has made is very relevant here, yeah? We always never got the payroll right simply because of that, yeah? So that one too was, we need to make sure that, every year, I think we need to put a strict discipline, the way that, we come up with the true cost, emolument, emotion. And there has to be some basic rules where him apply, yeah? Emotion. basic rules that them apply, so that we can have good something coming out from provisions like this for him operate for the benefit of the whole entire public service country and our people. Also, maybe Minister Ishawa comment law that one. Thank you, I say.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. PAC, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman of the PAC. Yes, so me take note of comments and recommendations here. The clause 54 and provide for regulation for determining what the terms and conditions below that. So that's also captured inside the legislative bill. So, but I thank you for those comments, and we'll take them on. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. And with that comment, let me now put the question. The question is that clause 49, as amended, stand part of the bill. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The clause 49 as amended, therefore, stand part of the bill. Clause 50, does any member wish to comment on this clause before I put the question? Clause 50. Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
So just for information, law committee, no more for Minister Informed Committee, the names of all kind of new classifications here. Apparently there will be 6 classifications, or name him come make him here.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Leader of the Opposition. Yeah, so there are 6 approved, 6 classifications now by me established. But I just go quickly through them. Explanation maybe can come later. The first one is the senior executive stream, where we cater for level SE01 to SE06. Second, professional administrative stream, level 01 to 06. Health care stream, levels 01 to 10. Fourth, level law and justice stream, level 01 to level 8. Fifth, technical and operational stream, level 01 to 06. And sixth, the general administration and support staff stream, which by me from level 1 to level 8. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Leader of Opposition.
No any stream for Yumi Lohielo Parliament? Or is that a changeable number of streams? Maybe something by law regulation. No more. Aro adem nara stream. Or time imigarem autonomy bill will have a parliamentary service, and I'm not sure whether that stop on for Lord stream or imi adem go nara stream. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you once again, Leader of the Opposition. Yes, those levels that can change. So as how you may start for establishing, but this is what you may establish, but we will go through a lot of consultation before we establish this one and make it for me become part of the regulation. But for now, he stays at this. But these things can change. We can change them. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you, sir. One of the issues where you may struggle come with him for so many years is we've had good technical people, a surgeon who we want to remain in the theatre for all of his life and retire in the theatre, doing great work, but the only way up is through the administrative levels. We'll go in PS because PS now has paid. And so when we have these classifications, you've got the technical operations cadre here or classification here. The issue of remuneration, like Kamlohem, these should not be equalized. So it reflects a little bit of the supply and demand of this talent within the country, but also the technical complexity that's required of these officers. You know, the Bills Committee has just commenced its inquiry into the Minerals Resources Bill, for example, Mr. Chairman. And Emmy, just so obvious, we have such a huge problem up there. I mean, a huge gap of technically proficient officers. What good money come no then go no for mining companies and also so you're losing a lot, and we're not training enough of them. So we need to first attract them and then retain them and reward them so they remain and no go come administrative classification also, so that they can be paid better than even this executive classification. So do we have that kind of, well, is that kind of flexibility possible under these classifications? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you once again, the Leader of Opposition. Yeah, with this classification, I mean, paving way for the career path for each cadre. And really try to address him, the bottleneck that he can have no public service, and also try addressing the salary issues. So once you come into one stream, one classification, you can really see your path moving forward. So this new classification really try to address the challenges that he may face in the current establishment, really, where we see a lot of our technical people moving out of the country and moving to other jobs because they couldn't find their way out. So this classification really will address those challenges. This is still subject to change, and we will continue to improve it as it goes on. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. And with that comment, let me put the question. The question is that clause 50 stand part of the bill. Those in favour, say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 50, therefore, stands part of the bill. Clause 51. Any comments on that clause? Clause 51. Thank you. If there is none, I'm going to put the question. And the question is that clause 51 stand part of the bill. All those in favour say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 51 therefore stands part of the bill. Clause 52. Any comments on that clause? If I put the question, clause 52. Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Thank you, sir. Just in terms of 1B, 52 1B, the regularity of this review, 5 years. 5 years is good, I think, not too long, not too short. But obviously in the interim, below 5 years, perhaps driven by needs basis, there might be need from time to time before that overall review is done to look at particular aspects as it is being rolled out. That one way Nahemi enable him. Could that be done? There's flexibility to do that without having to wait for the 5-year review. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Attorney General.
And thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Leader of the Official Opposition, for that question. Once every 5 years is just a maximum, a minimum. So as long as you meet once, you meet in threshold. It can be twice, but the minimum is it must once every 5 years. So it does not say that only one time no more, but you can 2-3 times inside of 5 years. But what it does here is that you cannot go over 5 years, but no one time you mean no review. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Attorney General. Any other comments on that clause before I put the question? Otherwise, let me now put the question. The question is that clause 52 stand part of the bill. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 52 therefore stands part of the bill. Clause 53. Any member wish to comment on that clause before I put the question? Thank you. If there's none, I'm going to put a question, and the question is that clause 53, stand part of the bill. Those in favor, say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 53, therefore, stand part of the bill. Clause 54, any comments on that clause if I put the question? Clause 54. If there is none, let me put the question. Sorry, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you, sir. The Bills Committee report, there is the recommendation 28, referencing clause 54, subclause 2B, when say an employee's salary or wages must be paid only for the hours the employee is at work or on authorized paid leave. The concern was raised with the committee, just the wording at work. So at work, I mean workstation, but they're, they can be performing their functions, but I mean no workstation, but they're still undertaking tasks assigned to them, especially perhaps extension officers or nurses or people who are going out on assignment and also. So logically is correct, but maybe just at work no more. But if I may start no more, it's not a big issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Leader of the Official Opposition, for that question. This one, I think, changed from the past one, where the past actor, I think, requires workstation, I think, put them so at the place of your work. When we came to a problem when COVID coming back, and then we had to work from home, that kind of thing. So then that's where the state of emergency regulations had to take care of that. So this one, you put the motion is basically for saying that once you at work, discharging functions below you could be low extension, also for example, in agriculture, extension work must be low field and or desk. So you might do a field trip kind of thing. That's at work, rather than just narrowing down low workstation, which is initial official one. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Attorney General. Any other comments on that clause? If not, I'm going to put the question. Sorry, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Thank you, sir. Again, we're dealing with remuneration. Currently, we have these schemes of service for various sectors, and also Law Education and under Law Education Act and new tool under Law Datwal Act here. Blogger nurses, different blogger doctors, different or police. It's quite an ad hoc structure of these schemes of service. How him hold together, him no barau like an overall well thought out overall structure, and so there is need to be thinking about that. And the new classifications, of course, may force that issue also when we're looking at, the professionals or technical operations type classification to attract and retain them and reward them. Will bring some of these considerations to bear as well, so that in its entirety we can see how it all fits together. Rather than the union or association with the loudest, loudspeaker demanding the loudest, also now getting the most, and all get aware are not quite as loud, but you may need him just as importantly. They get forgotten, for instance. The way we approach remuneration review also has to be guided by this whole overall overview, as opposed to depending on demands or claims coming from associations or trade unions. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Leader of the Opposition. So in terms of this classification, by me take over that is what do you call it? The scheme of service for doctors and nurses, except for the teachers now because they cover under the Education Act. So this classification will take over those scheme of service, which means that every other thing will be factored inside those classifications. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. And with that, let me put the question. The question is that Clause 54 stand part of the bill. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 54 therefore stands part of the bill. Clause 55. Any member wish to comment on this clause? Thank you. If there is none, let me put the... Sorry, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you, sir. At the moment, general orders may also specify, say, for example, sitting allowances. If a public officer may go for sit law and all board or committee also, by allowances where may additional to base salary blue. So, you know, we may have a situation where a public officer is making more from allowances than base salary. I'm incentivizing for go attend a meeting here, which is a good thing. Meetings sometimes meetings should be part of their work in any case. But at the same time, some of these meetings are meetings where in the ordinary course of their work as well, and should be. So there needs to be a little bit, that needs to be tightened up a lot more. So we look at the proliferation of these allowances. You may invent or sitting allowance, then any kind of allowance, go. You're making more from the allowances than from the base salary. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Leader of the Opposition. So under the general orders here, or the allowances here, it must be approved by the PS. So I'm not something that tell me, as long as you're a member of the certain committees, so other general orders, every allowance is approved by the PS. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. With that, let me put the question. The question is that Clause 55 stand part of the bill. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 55 now stands part of the bill. Clause 56. Any member wish to comment on this clause? Clause 56. Thank you. If there is none, let me put the question. The question is that, sorry, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Just in terms of the Bills Committee recommendations, 29 and 30, which both are relevant to all these clauses dealing with remuneration. 29 is clear, self-explanatory. 30, this matter of probation or trial period of 6 months. When the Public Service Commission itself came and appeared, Olketa cited the problem of confirmations, where definitely go. Samvala, I think the longest one was like 13 years or something else. And so, and they said when they, they found it difficult to ascertain the establishment, those on the payroll or government under various ministries. Some ministries are more difficult to know than others, of course. Others were Lohoniara no more, or provincial centers, maybe not so difficult. But ministries with employees in more remote locations, they found it really difficult. First thing is, when someone is recruited, comes through the door, obviously that process of recruitment, advertisement, and then interview, and then recruitment, then they enter into probation, that's all documented. And that should be then on file, and if we have e-government, that should be on a register, electronic register, and traceable right through to retirement or discipline or sake or death or kinds of things before they leave. Yeah? But to then lose track or to not know that people work for you, it's a real problem. And the size of that problem is also quite a large one. So Commission really expressed their frustration on this score. How do we ensure that we bring this matter to an end and that it is better managed going forward? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition. Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Leader of the Opposition. With regards to the recommendations here, Minister recommended recommendation 29 will be addressed in clause 124, which is the regulation, and then recommendation 30 will be addressed under the public service orders. I think the issue where you raised him, Leader of the Opposition, I'm true. The failures here below the administration of each ministries, the PSs and the admin, because not to fail for submitting all the recommendations to Council of Public Service. In fact, some of us, we all got a problem within the public service before too. I myself was, me never confirmed the position, we ran away from public service. But again, the challenge will come back a lot of ministries here. The ministries should make those recommendations and they should follow up on those period there, especially within probation period for when Hemi due, or they should make recommendation whether the staff by Hemi confirm, the position them, or by this for the probation by Hemi continue. So this is something that under this period it will be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you. Just that last bit law responsible, the bill by addressing, how not by addressing. So we make sure that we bring this under control. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, so this will be addressed under the employment review, where it should be done every year, and those recommendations should come to the Public Service Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable MP for Central Honiara.
Thank you, Chairman. You missed law close 56 here, but 56. Yeah.
7.
So
Sorry, 56. Sorry.
Okay. Law clause 56. You know, if you look at the whole prescribed regulations that will take effect, law relationship between with the terms and conditions that will be imposed under laws. So when I look at all of them, A, C, D, E, and F, they're all law. One value no more in a law. It's a collective agreement. Or possibly it's a law of contract. Is it AG? Is that how we see B? B, yeah. Thank you. See, I have no more question, because you know the heading says that the relationship with terms and conditions imposed under other laws. A, go Kasemada, except B, and it seems to be an argument, or the everyone law. What's the reason behind the AG? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, MP for Central Honiara, for that question. Usually headings are just there for guidance purposes, and they don't, and they're not used in interpretation. Only what the content law that are closed now by mission. So this one basically helped to Muslim, but inside of that refers to the laws and also a collective agreement here, which would probably be a scheme of services which everyone agree with him. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. But then just for I don't have to say no that it these terms of condition prescribed by regulation, so it will come under a law in any event, which is a subsidiary law. And thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General. And with that explanation, I'm going to put the question. The question is that clause 56 and part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. Ayes have it. Clause 56, therefore, stand part of the bill. Clause 57. Any comments on that clause before I put the question? Clause 57. Thank you. If there is none, let me put the question. Sorry, Honorable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Clause 57, merit principle. Very good. Barabudwena, process for recruiting a person to a position must be conducted in a way that ensures there is a competitive process for selecting the best candidate for appointment to the position. So this one, obviously you advertise, people apply, and you shortlist, and you do interview, and then you point score them, and you make a decision. But in you know, perhaps especially look at the technical areas where we need him for good. There may not be a competition, and one of the issues we regularly face in the recruitment process is just how long it takes to fill positions. You know, and you need this technical person, but by process for recruitment it will take some time, and of course a good technical person is probably not going to be hanging around. They'll be snapped up in the private sector or elsewhere, and so it is a bit of a problem, but it's a merit principle. It's very, very important, but I'm just thinking law technical areas, there could be some discretion that may allow for such a person to be snapped up quickly. So they're at post and discharging functions or responsibilities where you may need him under law positioning. But you know, it's a recommendation born of pragmatic reality and practical reality, no more. Not to dispense with the application of the principle itself, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Leader of Opposition. A response from the Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, the Leader of Opposition. Yes, law or technical ministries here, you must have making more direct employment based on the qualifications block. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable MP for East Malaita and
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. We'd just like to ask the Minister on the issue on termination, Mr. Chair. Like at the moment we have still some public servants were still on suspension. The timeline, Nami like Mr. Chairman. Some of the public officers, they have been held there for quite a number of years. I mean, if there's a timeline that, like if PS you look him that hemi, the case him no what nama. I mean, him go him cause him end that there's no evidence to what. Then it's good to quickly get that person back into his job back for like full salary or something awesome. Because at the moment, if you look good, we have these cases still inside public service. So I just want to know, Mr. Chair, I mean, timeline for me deal with into those public officers were still under suspension. At least we need to have some timeline, Mr. Chair, because I mean, imisawena. Some follow yes, if they have evidence, then okay, imi act upon now whether you dismiss or terminated. But some officers, Mr. Chair, I think I could remember some was of 4 years, 5 years, and I think this is not good, Mr. Chair. I think we need to have a timeline for public servants when they are suspended. Then we need to deal with their cases immediately, so that we deal fairly with our public servants. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Leader of the Independent Group. Lobelia, just for the issue of termination and me address clause 64. But currently, the issue that you may get now in terms of the delays law, taking action law, the staff was suspended is the delay on the investigation, trying to get the information for him to be able to make the decision whether that case may be proven or not. So most of the delays are really based on the delay law collecting the information. And normally the situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. With that comment, I'm now going to put the question. The question is that clause 57 stand part of the bill. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 57 therefore stand part of the bill. We'll have one more clause for consideration before I suspend the proceedings of the committee. This is on clause 58. Any comments on clause 58 before I put the question? Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
And thank you, sir. Law 58.3. So this one, I'm exempting the recruitment of permanent secretaries. So the recruitment below PSCs, of course, advertise and the rest of it and apply. But also there is option for Prime Minister to appoint without having to go through that kind of process. The Prime Minister could make direct appointment of permanent secretaries. No more?
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank the Leader of Opposition for that question. No, the Prime Minister does not directly appoint Permanent Secretary. It has to go through the Public Service Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you. Pardon my ignorance on these matters, sir. But so then it goes to process, and we go Council Commission, and then there's concurrence with the Prime Minister. At that stage, can the obviously the Prime Minister must have, as the coordinating minister, must have some, judgment as to whether Commission recommend him come money, but or useless man puruna. So he should be able to exercise discretion and say, oh no, like money, but man also not meeting him. Is that possible? Or himself say no more. The Commission must repeat him whole thing, or he in trouble.
Thank you, Lord Prime Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Leader of Opposition. Because after shortlisting and interviews, the Public Service Commission provides its recommendations based on the outcomes of those interviews. 1, 2, and 3 recommended, and the Prime Minister makes the choice. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. Honourable Leader of Opposition.
So Prime Minister cannot choose outside law shortlist.
Thank you, Chairman. No, I have to make that choice within the recommended list. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. Honourable Leader of Opposition.
So this will practice by Mkoet under law bill. All here. This was exemption and make a meeting say there might be some discretion, and a prime minister ought to have some discretion. You meet time of hand law, Prime Minister Thomas Mona.
Honourable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you, Leader of the Official Opposition, for that question. We would have to change the Constitution for that matter, because at the moment it lies with the Public Service Commission, so that's why Lohia say you may not touch him. So public service orders are not for doing more things. You say no more. That one you mean no talent for goal of PS, because PSC no more garem power for doing cancer for recruiting and appointment law, not permanent secretary. So that's why there is that exclusion at 3. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Attorney General. Honourable MP for East Choiseul.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You refer to the appointment of permanent secretaries here? Yeah, well, as the Minister Talen, Prime Minister Garam no to follow. Yeah, concurs or not concur. Also, if I'm not concur, then law case will be like Garam some discussions with him Bogota. I, instruct him, Secretary of the Cabinet, to do a story with him, the Chairman of the Public Service Commission, or not thinking. Also, I do not agree with him. This what line up and so I cannot pick anyone. Even what normally game come first choice, second, third, or something. You pick anyone over 3 and if any 3 one, then of course you concur. When that happens, engage the Secretary to Cabinet to have discussions with the Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee whether how you may re-advertise more or how and negotiations happen. But in all the cases, the Prime Minister may listen to the Public Service Commission. So, but now, look every submissions and go about that person. And also, so normally he would lean toward the recommendations of the commission. So, but no, Garam was a position straight name. So no, you re-advertising post then. So they can go back to the square one. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable MP for East Choiseul. Any comments on that observation, Honourable Prime Minister?
Thank you, Chair. The comments made by the Honourable Member for East Choiseul, yes, that's what normally happens. So that's the process as he has outlined. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. Any further comments on this clause? If there is none, I'm going to put the question. The question is that clause 58 stand part of the bill. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 58, therefore, stands part of the bill. And with that, with your indulgence, members of the committee, let me now suspend the proceedings of the committee, and we'll resume again. Let me give us enough time. 2 o'clock should be okay. Thank you.